welcome everybody to another session of original box sets, Deadlands. The screen's a little bit different tonight as we have two of our four players and only one marshal. Always just one marshal. Hi, I'm Max, and tonight we have with us Rusty, who is playing Ollie.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back in the weird, wacky, wild die-infested, never know what the dice are going to do, weird west of Dead.
Right. Also, we have with us Sarah, who will be playing Anne McDade.
Hi, everyone. I'm not as good as the words slewing that Rusty just did, so I'm just going to leave it at howdy, y'all.
We will be joined by Father James, who plays Father Cross later, as he just got out of work about 10 minutes ago. That's kind of why... He's not the reason we're delayed. We're delayed because I'm a bum and I get started on things late, and my notes, like, I don't know if you can... That's pretty much the last 3 game sessions, like 10 lines.
I have the opposite problem in A Sea of Spears. I've got about 12 different Word documents with a couple thousand words each. So I'm going the other route, where I have too many notes, which circles back around to being bad at taking notes.
Oh, man. So here we are, picking up from our last game session. In it, we're going to do some quick recap and then head straight into stuff. But actually, let's do our housekeeping before we do our recap. We're going to go ahead and clear off all the chips that are laying out on the board. You guys can't see it right now. It's over on the Roll20. And I don't want to segue over there because all the pictures are still screwed up. You want to see what it looks like? Here we go. Yay! Nobody can see. I don't even know. Anyways, a bunch of... So I didn't even do any cleaning over there. So let's just not go over there. Clean the chips up over here and deal out 3 new chips to all the players. We're going to recall from the table. There we go. And the players get 3 new chips each. I'll go ahead and throw them out. 3 chips to...
I already took mine. Don't give me them.
Oh, then 3 chips to Rusty.
I didn't take mine. I waited, sir. Perhaps
thank
4.
you so very
I'm
much.
impatient.
And then I'll go ahead and give myself 3 chips as well. Every game session, the Marshals tosses in his chips and then picks up new ones. So, and of course, I get to look at everybody's chips. Jesus, that's a lot of red.
Uh-huh.
Need more blue.
Yeah, I do. What, want to donate to the cause? Chips for the poor?
Chips for the poor. So, speaking of chips, we have with us a... Stream Boss. We're calling it the Trail Master. Trail Boss. Trail Boss? Did that? Yeah, it's the Trail Boss. It's got a few more hit points left to it if you do some bits and stuff. It's not a bit for bit. I did modify it since last time. I know I said I was going to do it. I changed it, doubled it. I think. Or tripled it. The math on that thing, I have to get an expert. Rusty knows an expert, and I need to reach out to her and get some help with this because I'm terrible. Anyways, if the Stream Boss gets defeated, if the Trail Boss gets defeated, you guys will be able to draw chips for either one of the posse or the Marshal. You can give wherever you want. You can give them to me, or you can give them to me.
That sounds really fun. I wish I could do that.
And if the players want to jump in there and help defeat the Stream Boss, I'll be more than happy to assist with tossing out some chips. So with the housekeeping taken care of, bounty has already been dished out from beforehand. Did you guys spend any of your bounty to help level up your characters?
I have not. Last session, I added to my persuasion, which seemed to do me some good. I'm feeling like it would be smart to do that again, so maybe I'll up it again. How much bounty does it cost to up a skill? I think it's 2 times the skill.
To increase a skill rank, it's 1 point for each new skill rank. So to buy something from a 2 to a 3 costs 3 bounty to get the. While she is doing that, I am not gonna level up. Partially because I wasn't here last episode, so Ollie hasn't done anything new and exciting since then. And I'm pretty content with the bounty that I had spent prior to last episode. So I'm just gonna hoard mine for now and kind of see how the dice fall.
Sounds good, my friend. All right, so making sure I can see the chat really well. Hello, people out in chat world. Make sure I can see all the buttons over here. Good deal. Actually, I can just drag this over here. And I'm not using that, so we can minimize this just a little bit. Let's put that there. Put nothing on that side. Is that a message? That is not a message. We're kind of hoping for a message from Soy Mange. He's disappeared. That's fun. So let's get back with our... What do they call it when you like talk about... Words are hard sometimes.
Recap?
Recap! Let's do our recap.
Previously on Deadlands.
Man, I wish I had some cool music to kind of like segue into that, but I don't. I'll fix that problem. Write down a note. Get cool music for recap. Haha! I'm going to improve those note-taking skills. Just leveled up some. The group had just got finished with dealing with a terrible situation at night. They began doing some investigation into what had happened. The body of the man creature thing dissipated. It turned into a puddle of goo and disappeared. The Pinkerton agent did collect a little bit of it, and they were definitely confused about what's going on. They had a chance to talk, engage in conversation with everybody involved, or at least as much as possible, and figure out, is there like something to be known? But for now, it was just sharing information. They took back to the 13th car and decided to go ahead. The priest did some more Catholic rituals over the bodies just to ensure it's safe. Bixby brought his one of his co-workers up, what was left of him, and left him in a what was the word we used? Canvas coffin on the 13th car, because that's all that would fit in. The next day, things were looking a little bit better. For most of the people on the car, they were well aware that the dog soldiers had attacked, but not too many people were aware of the creature that was running around last night. And nobody really ran around mentioning it to all the, we're just going to call them normal folks. Kept it kind of hushed and tight-lipped. Well, the day was going along rather okay. A chance to catch up with the passengers, meet with Miss Thompson, spend lunch, speak with people, and just socialize and get a chance to enjoy some of the social graces that we can role play through. But near the middle of the day, right around lunch or so, there was a fire detected. And that fire was coming from one of the closed-off rooms in the first passenger car. This alerted the banker and the accountant and got them worried and trying to get into the room to see what the fire is, because there was quite a bit of smoke and smell. They got the assistance of everyone else to break into Miss Lorraine's room. And when they did so, they found that she'd put a circle on the floor with strange markings, lit incense, and she was belligerent about people barging in, but that's normal. Everybody's going to be that way. And it looked as if she was doing something nefarious, casting black magic or something terrible. The banker called for her immediate execution of the witch. The priest, of course, jumped up and said that's none of his business to make that decision. And we all learned that the father was more than happy to draw down on even one of his own parishioners. Miss Lorraine and Miss McDade escaped to her room, where they have found some solace from the danger. Miss Lorraine, of course, not speaking too much or too well in English, tried to explain that she doesn't feel safe on this train. And the rest of the boys out in the hallway dissolved their hot heads a little bit and backed down after Bigsby and called for a little bit more order on the train. Now that, I think, covers everything. I think. Sarah, did I miss anything?
Did you mention that Ollie was kind of out of this due to a concussion from backfire of his gun?
Ah, yes.
So he wasn't around.
I also feel like backfire is underselling it a little bit. The gun exploded because I supercharged it for like 2 whole ass actions of building up mojo.
I know.
So I'm just saying, backfire is a bit of an understatement. Yes, my trusty 1866 Winchester blew up while I was shooting it. So the last thing Ollie remembers is that, like charging up a more powerful shot than he's ever tried, shooting at the nasty bat creature that was fighting some pale lady out on a railroad car. And then I imagine he's about to come to as session starts today. But that's what he remembers. So yeah, he was out cold all last session on account of brain damage.
All right. Well, so Ollie is where we're going to start, and if we can take a kind of a moment to pull back away from the sound of the train, like there's the pop, the bang, a huge amount of like ringing sound for a moment. You feel like you're swinging, and you can see the rush of like rocks and rail ties underneath you just flying by, almost like you're flying yourself. And that's the last thing that you can like see before bright white light and pain overtake you. And as your head begins to ring and you find that you have no ability to grab your head or stop it right off the bat, it does start to fade and you feel your body can move. And so you clutch your head looking for an injury or wound, but you don't find any. And when you start looking at your hands looking for blood, you don't see it. You don't feel any pain or anything. And you also notice there's no sound of a train. You're sitting down in the cool shade of a wide-stretched tree. Grass rolls around you. Mountains a little far off in the distance. Some valleys. Your horse grazing in the grass not too far away from you. Scrub brush off to the left-hand side of where you're at, and to the right-hand side, sitting nearby, there's a small fire with a kettle on it. It's very reminiscent. You're starting to kind of flash back, and you realize you're underneath the tree. You look around for a minute, and the Texas Ranger is nowhere to be seen. The log where he was propped up against is there.
Well, I know he wasn't in any state to move last time I saw him under this tree and by this little campfire. So I'm just going to kind of clear my throat and look around kind of groggily. And Sergeant Harris? Sergeant, where'd you get off to?
In this like moment as you begin speaking, you feel just a slight bit of like grogginess or wooziness moving through your body as you talk and begin more than just physically interacting. And you hear his voice. Just a moment. I'm coming back up the hill. You see Sergeant Harris walking. He's not by himself. You see next to him, he's walking, by the way, with no injury on his chest. He seems unhindered by anything. And he comes walking, and he's coming out from the scrub brush that's on the left-hand side of you. And he's not alone. You can see in the scrub brush, there's an Indian standing with him. You can't see the Indian in full because they've stopped. And he goes, "Ali, How you doing, boy?
Feel a little banged up, Sergeant, but what are you doing up on your feet? You're in no condition for that.
Well, it looks like we swapped places just for a little while. You're off your feet, and I'm on them. This is Chief Potamwa, and he points over to the Indian, and the Indian walks out at this point in time, and raises two fingers in greeting. Chief Potamwa wanted me to come by and talk with you for a minute.
Ollie will reach up and kind of politely tip his hat, but still looking very confused about what's going on. And that'll be his only answer, I think.
The sergeant who walks forward, you see he's got a healthy gait to him. He seems to have no problem as he's getting up. And he comes over and he'll sit back down in his spot where he was at, where he passed at, next to the fire, and kind of poke the embers. And, the heat, you can see heat comes off, the kettle's warming and stuff like that. And he goes, well, looks like you got hit pretty hard. And he'll put his finger up to your forehead and pull back blood.
What? Yeah, I guess I did. It was one of them weird old critters you told me about, and I tried to use them tricks, but I don't remember exactly how it ended.
He gives a nod. I don't either. But you might have put a little too much in it. Kind of bring it back from Texas and just go to Arkansas next time. He turns, Chief, if you want to have a seat. And the Indian gives a nod and sits down across from you. And the sergeant, the ranger turns to you and says, I'm not sure exactly what's going on or how I'm here. But this man somehow talked to me. I know maybe he's talking to me, to you, but he kept calling my name. And the good Lord and I had already squared everything away, but... And he shakes his head. He wanted me to come to you and give you a message.
All right.
He shrugs. I'm not too sure I understand it either. I thought I'd moved on to better grasses and was going to be on the plains with the rest of the boys, but apparently this Indian and God wants me to do one last thing before I go.
What's the message then? Let's get you back out there, I reckon.
The Indian then begins to speak as if he can understand what you're saying, but the words that he speaks are in his tongue, his native tongue. The ranger gives a nod and turns and says, the dog soldiers that attacked the train, they'll be coming back a second time. He says, there's a thing called and he calls, the Indian reiterates, and he calls it the Icha Tawa Pone. And the ranger seems to be able to translate, which you can tell there's confusion. He's not sure how all right. They call it the Devil Rock. Something on that train has got evil spirits on it. And it's dragging it through their land. And the dog soldiers, they're coming for it. I'm not sure what that all means, but he said you'd understand.
I ain't exactly renowned across the Lone Star from my understanding, but I don't know. There's plenty of folks smarter than me on this train. I'll talk to them, but I knew there had to be something going on to rile them boys up, but I figure there's also something weird on the train on account of spirits and some kind of monster, and I don't know. We'll see what some other folks have to say, but Ichatoa Pone, is that it?
That's correct. He says, but when I hear the words, it just comes out as Devil Rock. It's It's supposed to be some piece of ghost rock that's really concentrated. That's the way it's like ghost rock that's been compressed so hard. And he kind of shrugs. I don't know what else to tell you.
I don't know what else to ask you. I don't know. I'll tell the Padre and a couple of doctors and such, then see what they know about it, and I'll try to keep these folks safe when those dog boys come back. We already sent them running once. I reckon we can do it again if we got to.
He gives a nod. All right. He reaches out and pats you on the shoulders like, looks like the doctor's taking good care of you. You'll be going pretty good here in a little bit. And the Indian gives words, and he says, I'm going to give a quick description. He's got a broad face, the very large, broad nose, white, gray hair, and, 3 feathers sticking out the back of his headdress, and he's wearing a dress, full dress and whatnot. And the Indian reaches out, and he holds his hand out to you, and he begins to speak. The ranger then says, they spoke? No, he says, they're speaking. They're speaking now, and they say that they will ride and catch the train before the sun sets, and they will block the bridge. And the ranger gives a nod. The Indian gives a nod. He says some words. The ranger says, well, it's my time to go back to sleep. You need me again, Ollie. You just give a ring or whatever.
I don't know. I'll hold on to this gun and think real hard or something. But I am taking good care of it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm trying to do right with that piece of iron you give me.
All right. We are having a fourth person join our call, so the cameras just got screwed up. Please bear with me as we get everything fixed. The shaman gives a nod. The ranger stands up at this point in time, gives his hand, shakes yours, and says, all right, we're going to go ahead and going. And they begin walking away from the campsite. Do you want to say anything before they leave?
Ollie's gonna kind of awkwardly like remove his hat like he would at a funeral, because he's like these guys seem like they're kind of dying again. Like, I don't know if this quite counts as a funeral. It feels kind of holy or sacred or something. So this feels like the right thing to do, So like he'll haul himself to his feet as they're leaving to be kind of polite, and then he'll just kind of take his hat off and try to look kind of somber, like you do at a funeral or so. So he's like, I don't know, I just feel like I should do something polite or serious or grave or respectful. And Ollie just kind of doesn't know what else to do. So he'll just kind of stand there shifting from foot to foot a little nervously. And also he was brought up in a Catholic orphanage, so he's probably trying real hard not to think thoughts about pagan magic in the afterlife and blah, 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 blah. So he's just like, I don't know exactly what to do with all this information, but I'll just try to be polite as they leave.
Excellent.
That's what he's got.
All right. Well, as they begin to fade into around the edge of the bush, talking in casualness, it's like as you're looking at the bush, you hear the bush begins making clickety clack sounds like a train, and as you're like staring at the bush trying to figure things out, the bush begins to blur for a moment or two. Things blacken, lighten up, and you realize you're looking out the window of the train. So as we're making that segue back onto the train, we'll make some adjustments to our camera view. I slid over to the Roll20. Amazingly, it was pre-set up for 4 people. Yay.
As just a small note, Ollie does have the gift of gab, merit, positive quality, whatever they're called in this game. Edge. So after just a few minutes of conversation, he can pick up essentially a 1 in a new language. So I'm just going to make a note that he kind of had some back and forth with that guy. If I hear some more from this particular tribe, over time it'll kind of add up, and maybe I can start to pick up a few words. So Yeah, try to get my mileage out of that edge. I thought it'd be a good
I
time.
would do that. Yeah, milk it for everything it's worth. Alrighty then. Welcome, James.
How's it going?
Good. I hear that your place is in a mess.
Yes.
Well, we will keep you as a picture of your character for the duration of this game. I'm going to do a little split screening here. If I remember how to do that. Where's that button? There it is. And that one. And I'm going to take a moment while we continue forward and fix the other screen so we can slide back over there. So we've caught everybody up. Ollie's coming to at this point in time. Ollie, you are in what looks to be one of the booths that are in the third passenger car, and it looks like someone has graciously put you up a curtain to block the from everything else going on around you, and you can hear people talking. You can hear kids moving about and whatnot. I don't think there's any food at this point in time. That's right. They don't serve a lunch, so.
Ollie's gonna kind of glare out the window, like, well, I could put a curtain on this side too. He's got one of those. I imagine it's a pretty nasty headache. But he'll just kind of mutter to himself and, reach for his hat and try to kind of gingerly set it on his head, make sure that it's gonna be kind of okay up there.
Ooh, your head hurts. You touched something. There's a bit of bandage.
All right. Well, it's not great, but I've been here before. So he'll just kind of set his hat up there as comfortably as he can, and then haul himself to his feet, check his gun belt, especially making sure that he's got Sergeant Harris's old Lamont, and then he'll kind of poke his head out into the car and test his balance and such, and see if he can walk and go looking for somebody.
All right. Well, as you begin checking for pistols and whatnot, you see a wooden rifle, but part of the trigger, the actual back end of it where the hammer is and stuff like that, but the front end is kind of melted and warped in a oh my goodness motion as you're looking at it. The Winchester, the remnants, or at least what is with you at this point.
Yeah, you're gonna try to take it with him. I mean, it's his mess. He's not just gonna leave it lying around. But also, he's got some gunsmithing skill, and he's like, maybe some of this can be salvaged for parts. Like, potentially, there could be bits on the inside that aren't broken. Maybe the stock is still good, and if nothing else, he's just gonna go stuff it back in his saddlebag and hang on to it. But, maybe stuff can be, if worse comes to worse, could be melted down by somebody with a proper forge, yada, yada.
Right.
So he just kind of groan in pain at the confirmed loss of a trusty rifle, as much as he groans in pain at the explosion next to his head that knocked him out for like a day and a half or whatever. It's just like, and yeah, then he'll go limp in. I think from where I'm at, it's going to be back towards the car that I was originally in, was where my saddlebag and stuff was.
Yes.
So when in doubt, he will make his way back that way towards his car and try to find one of the other, one of the Pinkertons or the preacher or the, I know we ran into like a railroad agent that was supposed to be like security at the cars. And he's just got to like look for somebody to, check in with, make sure that other monster died, see what's going on there.
All right.
Get
Sliding out of your booth. You're in the last car with all the other families and whatnot. This is the same car you played poker in. It's not the second car, the middle one. So as you're again looking around for either one of the other gentlemen that you knew or somebody who seemed to be worthwhile, you notice the Pony Express rider that you played poker with is sitting at the front end of the car. He's resting more than anything, but he's got a shotgun across his lap. And that separates the two cars. And he's just kind of like resting his hand on a little shelf nearby. And he's got the shotgun in his lap. You don't see. Let's see. Father Cross. Where's Father Cross? Yeah, you know what? At this point in time, you do see Father Cross. This is past lunch. Let's see. So, how did that whole shebang end? He talks and backs off to his room, and then she was going to go do that. So, yeah. Father Cross, after the whole incident with the banker, Mr. Berg, and the accountant, they left and headed to their room because Bixby had said, disperse. Don't hang around here. If I see you hang around here, I'm going to say something. And he has been hanging out in that car. What did you want to do?
Dr. Webb and Father Cross were taking a closer look at the circle.
Okay.
Because I believe Anne took the girl to another, back to her room for a moment.
She did. Alrighty then. Taking a look closer at the circle, it looks like a circle. What would you like to know? How many questions can you ask me? Like, it's got circles, it's got some lines on it. Like, if I'm not an educated individual and I see somebody's drawn a image for Dagong on the ground, I'm not going to recognize it from Cthulhu's emblems either. So, I mean, it's...
Well, like Dr. Webb, I do have Academia Occult.
Okay. That allows you to be a priest. That doesn't give you a massive index of knowledge.
All right. Well, looking over what she's got in here, if I remember, you had mentioned candles.
Yes.
Some
Incense.
other items. Would professional theology help in seeing if it's just another set of religious setup for some sort of prayer or something?
Yes. You can make a roll, and I'll give you some limited information, but your forte is not specifically in this. So, go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see if the dice roller is set up. Oh, it is. I was really setting it at an incredible of an 11. I apologize for not saying that before you rolled. You got an 8. In your study as a priest, as a father of the Catholic faith, circles and knowledge of circles is not something you were trained in. Your training is more into the combative arts necessary to battle those terrible forces of the devil that go around causing problems. So you have had some experience, but not a lot. The ability to say, here is some, but it's extensive. You know that there are people in the church that you can take a copy of this and put it in the mail and have it mailed off to someone, and they can tell you what it means. The ingredients laying around, the candles, what it is supposed to invoke and stuff like that. But it's not something that you personally have a lot of experience in.
All right. What I will do then is I will take the next few minutes. I will go to my bag, pull out one of the journals I use to, occasionally draw things, make notes. And I will come back. I will make a drawing of the circle, and not knowing specifically what it does, I will actually leave a gap in the circle. So it's not
Perfect.
Right.
Right.
It's
No,
not perfect, but it's enough that someone can guess what it is that is trained in that.
Right. But that also you don't convey information that you possibly don't convey information to the hands of people that you don't want to have it. I get where you're coming from. That's smart.
Right. Also, since I just came into the game, I'm going to go ahead and draw my 3 chips
Okay.
while I'm thinking about it. And after drawing the circle, then I'll probably walk through to see how everyone's doing, because I have been trying to keep up with my priestly duties as well as being my normal monster hunter.
All right. When you come back with your books and everything, Dr. Walters, the NPC, and Dr. Webb, the PC who's not here right now, are currently, they have rummaged through this woman's things and produced, Dr. Walters is pointing at a book at this point in time. And when you come in, they close the book. Webb closes the book, and he puts it into his pocket. So he's going to attempt. I have his no character sheet here, so I'm going to get you to make a cognition check to see if you notice him pocket the book before you walk in. We're going to set this as an onerous 7. Do you have cognition?
Well, I mean, everybody has cognition. That's just the stat.
Okay. Did we lose James? I think we lost him. He's either muted or something. James.
I'll try pinging him over in Discord chat and just
There we
see what's going on. Because it shows him still connected, on my end at least.
All right. Well, we're not going to worry. We're gonna move forward. See when he responds back. We're just going to say he doesn't see them pocketing the book. Dr. Webb is going to step out at this point in time. He's going to find someplace exclusive and find a chance to read this book because they think this book might be good information, and they also don't want to share it with anybody because sharing is not what secret agencies do. Oh, and we lost him, and now he's back.
Yeah, he said his sound went out. He's trying to reset and see if that fixes it.
Good. All right, and so he's going to go back to the other car, and right after taking Lorraine to your car, I'm assuming you either, did you want to hang out and spend hours with her, or did you want to go also drag the other family up front, like now, so that you had more people present?
I do talk to I guess Bixby would be the best person to talk to about rearrangements, and that if the banker can't behave like a gentleman, then for my safety, for the safety of Lorraine, I'd like to switch, like have some cars switched around. So maybe he can take the box that the Thompson family had been in, and they can move on up here, and then we have a safe car for the woman folk all hanging out together.
Okay, so you slide out your room, leaving Lorraine in the room, pulling the door shut. You look around the car. The banker and the accountant are near the back of the car sitting at one of the tables, but Bixby is sitting at the bar itself, which is in straight line of sight view of where you're at. So you slide down the car next to him and have a quiet conversation about this. He will agree about moving the Thompson family up with you, but he's not going to move the banker back to their place. He's just going to keep a watchful eye on him. Plus, you're good money around, and you can just lock the door, and you'll have the Thompson family there. Are you sure? Because they've got some kids.
Well, like, where, how many open compartments are there? Because, like, I don't exactly want them all staying with me. But, like, being up in this car where, like, I can get to them easily is preferred.
You were in the first one. You were in the first one, the banker and the accountant. Now you've moved back to the third one. Lorraine is in the fourth one, and the sixth one is open. So what he will do is in the fifth one, he'll move a family around and then move everybody back down to one end. So he's going to do some shifting around after they clean up the mess in Lorraine's old room, because there's stuff on the floor and the Pinkertons have already kind of cleared it out. So,
all right. Yeah, I'm going to stick close, because, like, yeah, if the banker's going to be around, I'm not leaving her alone. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Bixby's got other duties, so he's not always going to be around to help watch our backs. So
Okay. All right, he will make this a priority, and he will go back and get Miss Thompson and her kids and start moving things around. So at this point in time, there's a lot of motion. Do you want to... Well, actually, you can go back and get Miss Thompson, or you can get Bixby to do it, but, you know...
I'm not leaving Lorraine.
Okay.
With the banker near.
Just totally cool with that. I wouldn't trust him.
No, not even a little. I'm kind of like, come on, mess with me, buddy.
I will reveal my final form.
The priest doesn't trust him.
I just want to go on record that your description for immediately calling for someone's like execution as a witch was ... not being a gentleman. Like, I just love that was how you described immediately wanting someone killed. Was like, that is impolite, sir. And
yep.
I adore that.
All right.
I have that voice power. Don't make me use the mom voice on you. +2 to persuasion, mom voice.
When so Ollie, as at this point in time, you push the curtain back, you step out, and you see Father Cross is sitting in the booth across and back. He's decided he's holding a sermon of sorts. He's sat down, he's got his book out, and he's reading from it to a couple of the kids and other adults. You see Father Cross there. Father Cross, you see Ollie coming out of his area where he was resting from a concussion. You see Bixby, the guy who seems to be supposed to be running security on this train. He is coming into the car and having a conversation with one of the families. You do not see the two Pinkertons. So now we have an idea where everybody's at. Ollie, that's the people you see at this point in time stepping out of your makeshift medical room. Did he freeze?
It's kind of a perfect freeze point. It looks like he's just reading notes or thinking really hard.
Or taking a nap.
The gun backfired again.
So many problems today. It's almost like we shouldn't have done the show.
Never. Don't cancel Deadlands on me.
Not even for the Super.
Oh, that's right. The football cosplay is going on today.
I never thought about it like that.
Do you see how those people dress up? That's cosplay. All right, we lost him. We're sliding back over to the Roll20, and I don't think we're coming back. We're going to stay on the Roll20. It's all messed up. That's all good. You guys can just hear our voice. Gotta move this. Where's that? No. There we go. There we go. Now you can you see the gaming map and hear our wonderful voices. Hopefully he gets everything back.
He said he's getting a network error message. He's trying to get back on.
Okay. I gather you have text messages from him.
He just created a Facebook group with all of us.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Computer's restarting. Oh, so many errors tonight. It's fine. It's all good. What were we doing?
Rusty was seeing Father Cross just as he cut off. Just to Phil, I'll also, as I send Bixby to grab the Thompsons, I'll kind of like place a hand on like the sleeve of his arm and like thank him, especially like make sure we know we're good after our conversation from before.
Yes. Okay. We're going to take, I think this is advisable to take a short break. We're going to do a break. I know we just only been on for an hour. This will give a chance for everything to recuperate. I'm going to keep that in mind that you want to thank him for his actions. I don't want to cut you off. I just realized that we're having these difficulties.
Sure.
I want to make this adjustment. Audience, we'll be right back shortly. I promise you. All right. And when you look across the car, you see Father Cross. He's reading to some kids as well as some young adults from the Bible, the good book. You do not see the Pinkertons. They're not in the car. You do see Bixby, and he is at another one of the booths in this back car, and he is speaking to the woman and the children, and he's helping them gather their bags and whatnot. At least one at this point in time. She is flustered, or at least like, oh my goodness, kind of like excited. I would say that she's fanning herself.
I will go and help Bixby carry stuff instead of interrupting the father for now, or at least I'll approach Bixby and offer, but then also try to sneak him a word if I get the chance.
When you approach him and the one of the young children who is helping the kids are the two kids are picking up their bags. There's a third kid there, and he is also assisting and gathering bags. You don't think you've seen this kid on the train before. You've been in the car. You're just like, got to be like more kids showing up. And Ollie looks to you, and he's got like a bit of a shock look on his face. He's like, sorry, Ollie doesn't look to you.
Bixby looks at me.
Bixby looks to you. Bixby looks to you and goes, Ollie, you're up.
I think so. Still not terribly sure, but figured maybe I could use a hand with a bag or something, and I could test my sea legs or whatever it's called.
He gives a nod. He's like, you looked pretty bad yesterday, and you look all black and blue now. Doc say it's okay for you to be up and moving around?
No, but Doc wasn't here to tell me not to, so, figure I could at least go for a walk and look for him.
Right, good. All right, well, we're moving the Thompsons up to one of the front cars. Miss McDade has extended an opportunity to them to share rooms with her. We're making accommodations. There was a bit of a scuffle yesterday, and a young lady is staying with Miss McDade, and Miss Thompson here is going to go join with them, so as, all the women folk are going to be in one place. There's a gentleman on the front car, and this is as you guys are moving. He's walking and talking. He's like, there's a gentleman in the front car, a very sizable gentleman, looks like a banker. This, I think, his profession is. He was being a bit rude and saying some stuff. Miss Lorraine is her name. She was burning I don't remember what they call it. But anyway, she was burning something that smelled funny, and the banker got all excited. And when they busted in her room, he pauses and he looks to you and says, there was stuff on the floor, Ollie. Strange stuff.
Well, that ain't right. But, I don't know, padres and doctors and stuff can figure that out. Large gentlemen or not, I don't particularly care too much for bankers, but especially not them what kick in ladies' doors and stuff. If y'all need, I could try to have a word with him. But on the topic of having words, and here I'll kind of glance around for the kid. While I was out, I got a weird feeling. I'm pretty sure them dog soldier boys might be coming back. I was just thinking when I was kind of half conscious and such that ain't no reason to come attacking a train unless there's a good reason to come attacking a train. Any old outlaw tell you train jobs are just dumb unless you know there's something on a train worth stopping it for. And weird for them to just come poking at us a little like that. I think, they might try to get us again before we leave their turf, and I reckon if I was inclined to such scoundrelish behavior, I'd look to be blocking a bridge or something. So we might want to get word to the engineer. Just keep an eye out. I mean, that's what I read in them dime novels and such. I'm a bit of a reader.
And he's like, more so than me. I'll make word to the engineer to keep an eye out. We're moving at a steady pace, so if somebody tries to block the bridge, we'll at least be able to see the distance. I've made this ride at least twice before.
I wonder though. You know, if anybody might have a spare Winchester I could use if them boys do come back. Mine got a bit damaged in the scuffle the other night.
I saw it was the prize to be mentioned and poked at the other night as we saw you be dragged back inside. I don't know how you survived. Oh, they found
Just
your
luck.
firing pin.
Just lucky, I guess. Good, yeah, I'll keep whatever parts I can from it, but
It was
just saying,
it was in the priest's leg. They found it the
Oh.
next morning.
I'll have to go make sure I tell the Padre sorry about that then. But yeah, I just figure if maybe y'all got any more boys working on his train, and I know some of them had them accidents the other night, but if anybody happened to have a good rifle I could borrow just in case them fellas come back, I think y'all might have noticed I'm pretty handy with the iron.
You are. We can go back to the caboose and see if we can find something. And about this
All right.
time, you two are walking into the first room. They have been reorganized. You have the 6th and 5th room. And so you're coming into the room with Miss McDade and apparently Miss Lorraine. Miss Lorraine and Miss McDade are sitting down at this point in time. Of course, you know Miss McDade. Miss Lorraine is a small, petite, blonde-haired white woman. Definitely smaller than Miss McDade, and probably just as pretty. Both of them are. She's dressed in, I guess, I want to say it's almost Southern Belle style dress. You know, puffy skirt with
Okay.
symbolism on it and whatnot. Because she comes from New Orleans, so I'm imagining she's at least wearing something nice for travel. And
Probably like her fanciest thing for a lot of
Yes.
these people, I
Yeah.
imagine. I know Ollie dressed up. You know, he's got all his good stuff.
So, and as you're having sit down at this point in time, Lorraine has made you tea, and man, this tea has got like cinnamon or something in it, and it's like got a kick. It's good. And at this, Miss Thompson's come in, Bixby's come in, and so has Ollie. He's up and moving around. He has a bit of a bandage on his head. He's not wearing his cowboy hat, and his eye is it's got color around it because he got binged.
Oh, Mr. Ollie, you're up and about again.
That's a rumor. I'm still not entirely sure I believe it, but miss.
The other woman says, man, I knew French at one point in him. Mon ami. She responds in a sweet voice, and she says, Mon ami, back to you.
Most of the French I picked up, I probably shouldn't repeat around lady.
She will giggle and say something in French, and nobody knows what it was.
Listen, I got these bags for, was it out of character? Is it the Thompson family, right? Was that the... anyways, let's find out where y'all want to get Miss Thompson and her passel of little troublemakers settled.
So she can have one of the cars to herself, and then Lorraine and I can share the other.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your help.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Miss Lorraine, sorry to hear that a banker has plagued you, as they have so many others. If you ask me nicely, once we're off Mr. Bixby's train and it won't cause an undue fuss, I would be willing to shoot the scoundrel for you. But you make up your mind about that on the rest of this here ride.
Oh, I like Ollie.
He has a low opinion of troublemakers, you know, bankers, politicians, that sort of thing.
Rusty, I mean, Ollie sounds great.
When Bixby sets down her bags, he's going to go back and help the kids come in as well. They drop off some bags. They also too move in, and so it's a little bit of an event as you and Lorraine hang out. Miss Thompson, Lorraine offers her tea as well, so she will sit and begin trying to like talk to her. Hello, I am Miss Lorraine. And in her heavy French accent, she's trying to engage in conversation. She seems really nice, and she'd really like a chance to get back to her room to gather her things, if that would be okay. But knowing that the banker's out there, she hasn't really attempted to step out. And she knows that people have been in her room, and she wants to go see how much has been rifled through.
Oh, I'll come with you, honey. No worries. Let's get your stuff, and we'll move quickly.
Okay. So, as people are moving people are moving bags around. Ollie, you're assisting. You will get a chance. Now, the doctor isn't playing tonight, but Dr. Walters is, and so he will see you and be like, "You, sir, we were looking for you. Dr. Webb is currently busy, but he said if I see you up and about that to tell you need to take it easy. I can tell that you have a lot of questions, but the most important thing is that you try not to exert too much effort. You took a concussion, and you're still not okay. Have you eaten yet? If you haven't, you need to get some food, something quickly, and maybe some alcohol." He reaches into his pouch quickly without letting you get a word in. Says, here, this will also help with any headaches. And he gives you a tincture.
Okay. I'm hardly ever disinclined to turn down a beverage or a hot meal. But, Doctor, you'd be doing me a bit of a favor if you could just be a bit quieter while reminding me about my headache.
Not a problem. I understand. I will let Dr. Webb know that you're up and about and that you are doing a lot better. Getting kicked in the face by one's rifle must have been an experience. Luckily, the father was there to catch you before you fell off the train. That would have been terrible. I have things I need to do, so I have to go. And you can see he's like he's heading back past where you're at to the front of the train.
All right. Well, I reckon that counts as getting caught by a doctor, and he didn't tell me I immediately need to lay down or nothing. So it sounded, Miss, like you were going to take Miss Lorraine to go fetch some of her things.
Yeah, it's right across the car here. She's a door or two down.
Yeah, sounds still like a little too far for y'all to have to carry anything. I'm currently a bit free, as last I saw the good Padre, he was preaching, and I got my fill of that a couple years back. So I could give y'all a hand with carrying anything.
That would be great. And if you wouldn't mind after words, I was supposed to go up and see the conductor again today. He was going to let me toot the horn as well, but I'd like to discuss a couple things.
Sure, I may retreat to the rear cars before you get to playing with any horns. But, yeah, I guess get you through here since there's scoundrels about mistreating ladies.
Yeah, I just don't want to leave Miss Lorraine alone and I'll kind of nod up to where the banker's sitting.
And she will lean out and look down the way and see him and go, "Oh," and she will say, "Oh, what a horrible man," So you guys go back down to the room, and entering the room, there is definitely some sort of, I'll describe it as a pentagram, but it is not just a circle with a star in it. It is a circle with a star and what looks to be symbols of like a J on its side and some sort of smaller circle that has a line coming out of it. Candles are placed in odd placements around. They're now out. And there's a small tray that's been knocked over, and there's ash on the floor. I'm not sure if Ollie himself is familiar with incense or incense burning, but you were in the Catholic Church, so you might have.
And also it's the sort of thing we probably hear stories about Native Americans burning stuff too, and other churches might do stuff. So he might not know exactly what it is, but it's burning stuff is burning stuff.
Exactly. So she points out her bags and immediately goes over and starts looking through it. There's about 4 of them. They're not small bags. They're about 4 bags. And she begins looking through one that's sitting up and open. And she will say, in French, well, actually she'll say it in English, "It is missing my book, my journal. It is missing." That's my best attempt at a French accent. Be happy. Not to you, the audience. You guys are always happy.
You sounded uncannily like a pretty French girl, Max. I know that's what you're looking for.
Shit.
I don't think his wife.
I offer dialect classes, Max. If you,
I will definitely hit you up for that at some point. How much does it cost? We'll talk about it after the show.
So someone went looking through her things? That ain't right.
You see, she is upset. Far as you know, you guys did not have any track of who came in and out of her room after you stepped out.
I'll ask Bixby if the banker was rifling around.
He shrugs. Well, he's currently moving bags as well, so he's not around to answer your question.
Ah, okay.
So she's going to clean up what of the mess she can, the candles and whatnot, stick them into bags. Ollie, are you going to help move the bags back to the other room?
Yeah, like he's not going to touch anything until she hands it to him.
Of course.
Partially out of manners, partially because it looks like there's some weird stuff going on that was maybe kind of religious. Ollie reckons that's not an oversized sheriff star she painted on the floor. Like this, he knows there's some weird symbols and some weird stuff. So he's just gonna kind of wait, and he'll take bags as she hands them.
She will struggle with one bag to get it to you. It looks like our Dr. Webb might be showing up a few minutes late. He, for whatever reason, didn't realize 2 weeks had passed.
So, Ollie will just take the bags and wait. He's determined to carry all this stuff in one trip because that's how Rusty rolls, and that's also how all Rusty's characters do things.
Excellent. All right.
One trip or die trying.
All right. Which gets Miss Lorraine to stand near the window and watch Ollie as he struggles at the door and say in French something else, which I can't do French, and I'm not even going to try. So
I'm getting good at faking it.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Le pouvait le regarder se lever toute la journée.
All right, you take the stuff.
Don't know what it means.
Yeah, that's fine. You take the stuff, head back down to the room, start organizing it, and it becomes a little bit of a community here with the kids on one side, with Miss Thompson, and of course, the kids are going back and forth at this point in time because they're assisting with bag moving and whatnot. And Lorraine,
for the record, Matt, on the way back to the room, like doing the sideways scoot, and he's got like a bag and a bag under each arm, so he's like shuffling sideways. He's gonna go like, journée. Is that journal or is that journey? Is that diary or is that trip? Journée. Which and just little things like that. He's gonna start trying to pick up a little bit of French. He's not afraid to ask questions, and he'll start trying to pick up a little bit.
She will say journée. It means passage of time, like today. She goes a day. Her English is bad, so she's like, and she's trying to like bumble around, and finally she gets it. You both get the concept that journée is not journal, but the day.
Okay.
And she kind of laughs at your feeble attempts to learn her language. No, she doesn't. She giggles. Oh no! Oh, he's froze at that face. I won't laugh.
Did everyone freeze?
No, just Rusty.
Oh no!
Did it?
There he is.
Yeah, you guys are still here on my end. I don't know what's going on. This sucks. I hate internet stuff.
Okay. Well, you're back. But yeah, she giggles at your attempts to learn French. She seems more amused than anything. Anybody who's watching can make a cognition check to notice that she is kind of flirting with. It's an onrus at this point.
Ollie will not make the check because that's what he's already assuming is happening.
Bam.
I am all about this.
Yeah. Wait, he asked a question, he answered. At some point during the engagement of her trying to explain day, she said something, he said something, it sounded funny, she giggled, and then she blushed and looked at the floor. It's just how it goes. Telltale signs. But you don't have a psychology professor to lean back on to tell you that. You just have experience. Because, like, that's what Webb got. Last game session, Webb picked up on hints because he had a class on how to read people. Anyways, moving forward, things have got shifted. Things have been resettled. People haven't had a chance to just kind of, like, lean back and relax for a moment or two. Bixby comes back after moving a bunch of stuff, comes to you and says, Ollie, I'm about to head to the back of the train if you want to go with. There might be more than one back there, and I want you to make sure you get a good pick.
Oh, yeah, and I need to talk to Father Cross about that firing pin he done stole.
Yeah, you might want to. Yeah, we can stop by and say hey to him. And he gives a nod. Miss McDade raises his little hat. Raises his hat. It's not a little hat.
And Ollie...
Pause for a second. You've frozen. Let's see if you come back. He did not come back.
Oh, Rusty gone again.
Who did not...
There he is. There
he
back.
is.
Like, I completely still see and hear you guys. So I don't know what's going on.
Do you have any other
Looks
programs?
like lag.
Like, I've just got Twitch and Discord running.
Okay.
I can shut down Twitch, I guess. Like, I'm not...
That's
feel
not
like I'm
gonna-
not doing too much in chat, but yeah, like...
It's
last I got was Bixby raising his hat and saying "ladies." So like, and it's weird. Like, you guys aren't freezing up on my end or anything.
what's happening.
Sorry about
is,
this.
What's happening is your Discord is getting a bit of lag. It's actually your Discord that's hitting the problem, nothing else. So if we need to take a break and you want to do a restart on your Discord, you're muted.
I can if you guys want, or you could cut to a scene with somebody else or whatever, and I'll just try to take a look at what's going on without shutting it down necessarily.
I can slide over to our Roll20 where it's just the map and our voices, and then you can do your shutdown and it's going to not affect anything. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, we're on a different screen now. So while Rusty's taking care of that, him and Bixby are walking to the back of the train. When you're in the room with Miss Lorraine, she is tearing her bag apart.
Is this to me?
Yes.
Okay. So
With.
and I'm sorry. Did and Ollie and Bixby left?
Yes.
Okay.
With.
She keeps repeating OS, OS, OS as she's putting stuff and she's opening things. It is gone.
We'll find it. We'll find it. We know everyone that was around. At the time, we can ask the doctors. We can ask, or the Pinkertons. We can ask, the banker. I'll leave that to one of the gentlemen. We can ask. We asked Mr. Bixby, right? Or was he not around then?
You haven't really asked anybody. Well, you asked him, and he said, "I don't know who went in and out of the room."
Okay. And
maybe it was the
the
Pinkertons.
father. Maybe we could start with the father. With Father Cross, if we can find him, we could ask him if he's seen.
She says, I saw one of those tiny men who have the funny hats. He walked to the front of the car.
I smile at her. Her definition. I assume she's talking about the banker and the accountant.
No. The banker and the accountant are still
doctors?
sitting back. Yeah, she's probably talking about the doctors. They are kind of like slightly shorter than the average guy. I mean, she's also short too. I mean, as far as it goes for the average woman, but
Sure. You're. Tell you what. You're all moved in, so let's just lock our car here so that there's no issues, and then we'll go take a walk and find everyone and just ask them if they've seen it. All right. Let's go.
all right. So you guys step out of the car and move to the front where she says she saw the short man go. And you head to the front of the car and into the small kitchen area where you find Dr. Walters, one of the Pinkerton. And she's like, there he is.
Dr. Walters, I was wondering if you have seen a little book that was in Miss Lamore's car.
He turns and he stares. Oh, I'm sorry. You caught me off guard.
Cue 15 minutes of him talking at us.
I did look around the car for quite a number of minutes. What book are you talking about? Because I saw quite a number of them. There were some large ones and small ones and da 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 da.
I'll kind of like gesture to her, like big or small, like gesture hands.
She begins making hand gestures, which he kind of mimics along with. Go ahead and make a dice roll. Hang on.
Also, our pictures are all off of Twitch now.
Yes, I moved us over so Ollie could take
Gotcha.
a refresh to his stuff.
Yeah, I shut Discord all the way down, started it all the way back up. I had to log back in and everything. I checked for updates. I'm not missing any. As far as I can tell, everything is back in.
Cool. Then I will slide us back over. Bam, there we are.
And I'm sorry I interrupted you. You wanted me to make some roll?
I did after I found it, but I haven't found it yet because I'm trying to remember what it is. I know it falls under cognition. It is definitely cognition because that's the only thing I can think it could be. James, is there a sense motive?
Scrutinize.
Ah, which is under cognition. Ooh, I'm not on the right page. What is that? All right.
That's a whole solid 3.
He tells you that he has not seen a book by her description. She, on the other hand, crosses her hands and seems to be bothered by his response.
It's just because I believe in the best in people. Is Dr. Webb around? I'd like to ask him as well.
Oh, Dr. Webb. He's in one of the back cars. He's dealing with a patient right now. Probably best not to mess with him. It's just probably best just to let him be and he can catch up with you. I'll let him know you're looking for him.
All right, thank you. If we happen to see him, we'll stop. If not, we'll catch him later. And then I'll kind of guide her toward the further back cars where I imagine we'll probably find Father Cross.
Yes. As you're walking, she says, I don't think he was telling... No, she will say it simply. He's lying.
What makes you think he's lying?
I don't trust him.
I mean, he talks a lot, but I think like he's got everyone's best interest at.
She seems upset and says, I don't know. I don't like him.
Fair enough. Well, let's see if we can track it down through other means, and if not, we'll circle back. How about?
Okay. She stops you as you're walking through the cars, like midway. She goes, you are so nice to me. Why?
I know it's like to be traveling alone and be bullied by men around. So, we got to have each other's backs.
She smiles and she says, I do not travel alone. My master, he is always with me, but in spirit more than anything.
I understand. God is with me too.
She smiles. Oh, Christian. She says, your religion is so fun. It's so interesting. You have... She stops from her. I am not Christian.
And that's all right. I'm sure if you live your life being a good person and helping others and doing right, that when that day of reckoning comes, there'll still, God is always watching.
She smiles and says, and she'll say, in my religion, there is no God to watch over you. It is those who have come before you who watch over you. And she tries to kind of wing around how she believes that there are other that you become someone who watches after other people if you're good.
Oh, that sounds like the angels watching us as well. So I don't think, it doesn't sound that different. I like what you're saying, and again, if you live doing good and by doing what's right, I think there's a place for us with whatever comes.
Okay. So she's going to ask you, try to understand what an angel is. And so your guys' conversation is about, and so once you explain and describe it, she'll, let me see.
Ange.
And when you describe it, she's like, oh, an ange. Yes, I've seen many churches with them on them and stuff like that. So you guys are trying to build a conversation at this point in time. She's trying to understand what you're talking about. She tells you about New Orleans and, the different things that are down there and how wonderful it is and how romantic and the people and, just good conversation. You guys get to the final car. In the process of doing so, you do come across Father Cross, and we're going to segue from Father Cross. But before that moment, Ollie's back, so we're going to follow him into the car.
Okay, I just want to add on that if she's heading back to New Orleans at any point, I am going to visit her.
Heck yes. All right, so Ollie, you're following with Bixby. This is before this moment in time, before what just took place. So you're entering the car. Father Cross is holding a small sermon. People gathered. What did you want to mention to him?
I'm hoping not to interrupt a sermon if I can help it. But yeah, just gonna kind of touch in, out of character, to touch in with the other PC. But yeah, just check on him after the explosion, thank him for some stuff, and kind of catch him up on some visions. But most of that isn't things I want to do in front of kids he's giving a sermon to.
We can say that they're gone.
All right, so if it sounds like they're wrapping up as we approach, Ollie will give Father Cross kind of a rueful smile, and he'd go, "Is that the man, Agent Bigsby? That's the fella stole my firing pin."
Oh. Bigsby's like,
Young man, I am a man of the cloth. I do not steal firing pins. I confiscate. I borrow. Sometimes without your knowledge, but I never steal. How are you, Ollie?
Oh, I'm doing all right. The doctor yelled at me a bit and gave me something to drink, so I figure I'll be okay. I am sorry about that. Never had a shooting iron do exactly that on me before. So my apologies, Padre. Didn't mean no harm. Well, not to you.
Do you think you can keep it from happening?
Well, I reckon we're likely to find out. I'd kind of gesture for Father Cross to come with Bixby and I, towards and further towards the rear of the train. Let's go. I got a bit of a suspicion that them dog soldiers might be coming back, Padre. I'll kind of tell you the reasoning for my hunch in a bit, but yeah, Mr. Bixby here is going to help me get myself a new shooting iron if we can find one, and just make sure that we're all a little bit ready in case they come back.
Would you like to borrow my rifle until you get yourself another one?
Well, hopefully I won't need it just between here and the last car. We figure we go check on some of the railroad boys that had their accident and see if maybe they might have left a spare Winchester lying around.
This is when Max attacks us right now.
Well, I only use mine when necessary. I prefer my peacemakers to my rifle, but you're welcome to take a look at it.
Well, I don't mind carrying it on the way to the back of the train, sure. And yeah, I'd prefer not to use them unless necessary either, of course. I just have a sneaking suspicion that my necessity sneaks up on me a little more often than yours does on you.
Well, here. It's Winchester 76. Quality made. By some good friends. Straight from the Winchester Company itself. And I'll take them to my stuff and let them see it.
Yeah, I was 45. Got a good 15 shots in the tube. Yeah, it's a good rifle. He's got enough gunsmithing, I figure he can rattle off some of the basics like that. But yeah, Padre, I'll be honored to carry this leastways until I can find myself a replacement. But I reckon it would come in handy if them fellas come back, or, if there's any other need.
Well, I think it should be, if it's going to see use during the ride, I think it should be in the hands of someone better suited to using it than me.
Thanks, Padre. I appreciate the vote of confidence and such. I figure, are we in a little bit of a partition here where I can talk to Father Cross?
Yes.
Speaking of vote of confidence, Padre, I understand I was out the better part of a day, maybe a day and a half, but I kind of saw some stuff while I was down there. Fella that I know real well is dead, come up and talk to me, delivering some messages and some warnings and such. You ever heard of something called Devil Rock? It's Ghost Rock, but worse or better, or I don't know, just Ghost Rock, but special. Apparently there's some on this train which might be explaining all these calamities and troubles and such. And apparently them dog soldiers is riled up about us taking it through their land. And I have it on fairly reasonable authority, if anything is, that they're likely to come back before sundown and mess with us somewhere near a bridge. So I appreciate having this good Winchester in hand should that happen. And I don't know, maybe we need to keep an eye out and see if anybody else is after this Devil Rock.
Have I ever heard the term Devil Rock, Max?
Now, this is where you can make a theology roll. I am still going to set this at an honorious 11. No, it shouldn't be. We'll make it a hard 9.
I believe in you, Father Cross. I believe in the power of our friendship.
Spend some chips, maybe? Spend some chips, maybe?
I will go ahead and spend a red chip for that extra one.
Oh, what, you don't have any blue ones?
I do, but I have one, but I want to hold on to it at the moment. So that gives me a total of 13.
Yes, it does. All right. Amongst some smaller groups of individuals, you have definitely heard the term Devil Rock. It has nothing to do with Ghost Rock. It is similar in the fact that it is a rock that was found. A lot of the strange occurrences that have been going on seem to be centering around the New World or the United States. Very few have actually come out of the Old World. This one actually comes out of Africa. It's a large black stone that was used in some South African rituals for the purpose of communing with powerful spirits. This you heard about. The church tried to get a hold of it, and they did some decades ago, just like other relics that you know about, like the Holy Grail and whatnot. The Spear of Longinus. The Catholic Church did have a hold of it, but sometime about 2 years ago, one of the reliquaries was attacked. Of course, this is after the time of all the strangeness happening, and this reliquary was attacked by something, not someone, and the stone disappeared. That's where we're at this point in time. What does it do? No one really knows, other than talk to powerful beings, and it's part of a ritual of some type. How does it work? No one knows. Is it dangerous? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. They know only a few details.
So what we did was we picked it up and we just stuffed it in a vault.
I mean, it was probably a blessed vault.
Yeah, it was probably a blessed vault.
All right. I just nod and I say, and you say a friend of yours that's been long dead is the one that told you about it.
I don't know about long dead. I'm gonna be honest, Padre. I'm a little fuzzy on exactly what day of the week it is, and this one I can't exactly pin on the concussion. Given as I am to long trail rides, it's not entirely unusual for me to be a little fuzzy on exactly what day of the week it is. But I figure he buried him maybe about a week ago. But he was a good man, Texas Ranger, and they ain't much inclined towards lying even when they're alive, and I figure even less so when they're dead. Plus, he had this chief fellow with him, Potumwa or something, and I don't figure they would have wanted to talk to me unless it was something important and honest as well. Or I guess maybe I just got hit on the head real hard, but I just got a feeling, Padre. I don't think it's that. What with all these other troubles going on.
I just nod and I say, I do believe you might be right. Here's all the ammo I have for the Winchester, and I've already got it preloaded, so it's ready to shoot when you're ready to use it.
Well, I'll be ready to use it as soon as I need to. Thanks, Father. I promise I'll do right by it.
So, are you both doing all right?
Out of characters, that me and who?
Yeah, you and Bixby.
He gives a nod. I'm perfectly fine. I appreciate the concern.
All right, then. Let's take a look around, see if we can't make sure that this train is more secure than we normally would have it. Visions can mean a number of different things, but one thing I know about Ollie, he's never lied to me.
So far, yeah, he seems to be an honest individual. So where would you like to start your investigation? Back of the train, front of the train.
Let's start at the front of the train.
All right.
Oh,
That way we can, since the train's heading that way, we can start working our way back.
and speaking of the front of the train, that Miss Lorraine, I helped her fetch her things from her room after that scoundrel done kicked in her door. She seemed all in a tizzy, Padre, about somebody going through her things, and some of her stuff is missing. I don't know if it's related or if that banker's pervert as well as no gentleman, but somebody went through her stuff, and I'm not sure who it was.
All right. Well, why don't we ask around while we're on our way through the train then? Because as far as I know, the only ones that actually walked in there after we opened the door were me, Dr. Walters, and Dr. Webb. And it was... I left before the two Pinkertons did.
Yes, so the Pinkertons were the only two behind you.
Ollie will just give a shrug. Figuring out who has done stuff isn't generally what Ollie's for. And he was unconscious for all of this, so he's just having to take kind of everyone's word for it. So he'll just kind of shrug and, like, I don't know.
Okay. All right, which at this point in time, if you guys are heading to the front of the train, this is the same time that Mrs. McDade and Miss Lorraine are heading to the back of the train, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
We've all met up again. We've come full circle. The circle of life.
Yay.
All right. This is the part where I expect Soy Mage to suddenly pop in and be like, I'm here. Great.
And just throw off all the cameras. Yay.
Go ahead.
Who's doing what?
I apologize. It's like, all right, you guys have been talking, man. I've been researching. I went through 3 different books. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. Look at me taking notes. You guys have got this. You got this. Go.
All right.
In
Gentlemen.
my head, I picture the father in front. Ollie's a little bit more of a follower, unless it's a crisis. So, and also, James had to be pretty quiet today, so he could take point on the greetings.
Good afternoon, ladies. It's good to see you again, Miss McDade.
Father Cross, question for you. Ollie just helped Miss Lorraine move compartments over to mine, and she's missing a book about Yay Big. Was wondering if you had seen it after we...
Where was it?
I believe it was in one of her bags.
I shake my head, and I look to Lorraine, and I say, I'm sorry, miss, but I didn't go through any of your things. I just looked around the room at what you had set up, and the Pinkertons and I just looked at what was there, but then I left with them still in there. Have you talked with them?
We ran into Dr. Walters, and he said he hadn't seen it, but we haven't seen Dr. Webb yet.
And Lorraine will give a nod in agreement that that's what happened. Bigsby will look to you and Ollie and say, well, if you're going to go do all this stuff, I'm going to head to the back of the car and see what I can find.
Yeah, sorry about getting a better offer on a rifle, but it seems like when a holy man tries to arm you, it's best to listen. Something, sell your cloak and buy a sword, as I recollect.
No, thought it was swords to plowshares or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Guess that depends on just which verses you pay attention to. But yeah, there might still be some ammo you can scrounge up back there, but maybe just spread the word of folks to still keep the eye out a little.
Can do. And he steps off.
I turn back around. I look. I say, "You only talked to Dr. Walters, and he said he hadn't seen it."
Right.
I think he was lying.
I'm willing to
I'm
bet
looking
he said
around.
he. I'm willing to bet he said he didn't see it probably a good 6 or 8 times when you only asked him the once.
I grin widely, but kind of blush and look down, like, don't engage. But heck yeah.
We should find the other one. The one that does not lie. That was terrible. I'm just going to stop. I'm trying to sound like a little French girl.
It's going great. I love it. Lorraine's my
So
favorite
do I.
character. I have a crush on all your NPCs.
Aww.
All right, so yeah, have either of you seen Dr. Webb? We should find him and
Sounds
you
like
know,
a good idea.
Yeah, being honest, miss, I kind of been trying to avoid doctors today on account of the volume with which the last one addressed my head injury. And I don't want to get in trouble with Dr. Webb, so I've been trying not to find him.
fair enough. Well then, if you gentlemen will excuse us, we're gonna continue on our
I look at them and I say, "Lorraine, I will be on the lookout for your journal, and if I find it, I will bring it back to you. What does it look like?"
Is this big? It is leather bound. It has. Hang on 1 second.
Is human skin
It has.
very, very expensive?
It has an image of Saint Anthony on it.
Oh, Saint Anthony. That's definitely in my wheelhouse. What's he the saint of?
She giggles. She giggles as you thought for about as you say that, and you're like, "Oh, Saint Anthony. He's the guy the saint of lost causes and lost things." Dun dun.
I laugh and I say, where did you say Dr. Walters was at?
Dr. Walters was in the first passenger car.
I mean, it's train. It's not like he can hide unless he jumps off of it, and you're never gonna find him.
I don't know, that tiny kid hid for like 3 days or whatever.
You haven't been on this train that long. And his name is Natty.
Well, Natty Light is a great hider, so
Nah, I just think his mom was having more kids while the train was going. We've been on it that long.
5 damn game sessions. And you guys,
It's only
this is
been a day and a half.
It's only been a day. It's because a lot of shit's happening. Okay.
He's too short for us. Okay, so I look at her and I say, I'll talk to Dr. Walters. Make sure that he keeps an eye out for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Father. We'll
So,
You're
we'll
welcome.
depart.
You guys go separate directions, heading toward the front of the car. You guys are heading toward the front of the car to go talk to the engineer, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're heading toward the back of the car and a chance to see Dr. Webb. I just messaged Dr. Webb, and he hasn't responded yet. That was 45 minutes ago that he said he just got off work. So unless he lives like an hour away, I don't know. I don't have an answer. for if he's going to show up. So I'll just NPC him.
Cool beans.
All right. And he will just not get to show up for this game session, because if he does, it's going to be like screwing everything up at the end. So you guys move to the front of the car. You guys begin moving toward the front of the train. Da 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 da. As you're doing so, oh man, there was something I needed to roll. I just remembered. I got to go back and do that again. Give me 1 second. I got to do something. Where's the dice roller? There it is. Anyways, it's 4d6. 4d6. I'm not even gonna like change anything. I'm just gonna do so 4, a 2, a 4, and a 3. Okay, never mind. We're good. All right. Apologize. There was some logistics, like a couple of scenes back I needed to take care of. I took care of it. You guys head through the train cars, heading 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and begins. You get to the flat cars. You walk across the sides of the flat cars. You get to the next car, which got the horses in it. And of course, you don't have a horse. You just have a saddle there, Ollie. But you walk in, and the horses are all off onto one side, and there's a total of 12 of them. Sorry, 13 horses. I'm sorry, 13 horses. In the train car, a variety of horses. Some are pretty horses, and some just look like big monsters of beasts. And the second to the last one looks like an old, raggedy-looking mare. The nag looks like she's seen better days. Maybe she's headed out to the glue factory or something.
Oh.
Yeah, old horse. But the second to last one's an old horse. And, of course, the very last one, the 13th horse is Father Cross's horse. All right, it's my horse. Pat it. Let's see. You move past that, and then there are 2 cargo cars that you guys are going to walk through. And there seems to be just varieties of different varying cargo pieces. Nothing stands out to you. Nothing says like explosives or anything. And then the car after that is, of course, the coal car. And it's half coal, half mechanic parts. It's like where the engineers keep some of their tools as well. So you guys step out, and there's like a small walkway just on, like, I would describe it as, for the train's purposes, the right-hand side of the train, it's just a walkway. It's a railing or chain link and whatnot. So you're walking along fast-moving train bits. So as you guys step out there, the guy who's right now shoveling kind of leans out and looks at you guys like, what in the heck?
Ollie lets the father take point.
I start walking towards him, and I say, "Afternoon."
He takes a step back onto the engine and gets the engineer's attention. And a wizened old man steps up and wipes his hands because they're kind of dirty and whatnot, and thrusts them out to you guys as he helps pull you up onto the engine. How you doing? He gives you both a look over. Are you wearing your priestly bit?
Yep.
Mr. McAllister, how can I help you, Father?
Well, we've been helping Mr. Bixby with security, and my friend here has a funny suspicion that there's a chance we'll be having some more trouble up ahead. He's not sure where, but we wanted to let you boys know so you could be on the lookout.
He stares at the two of you at this point in time. A suspicion?
Sir, them dog soldiers still seem plumb mad when they took off the first time, and I figured before we get the outside edge of their territory, if they're looking to come and get something back for them what we're lost, well, they're gonna have to make their move before we get out of their turf. If I was looking to attack a railroad, I'd be trying to block a bridge or something. That's what always happens in them dime novels.
He stares at you. Son, you realize that we are in the Coyote Confederation, and they have nothing to do with the Cheney. And the dog soldiers are mostly Cheney.
I don't know, sir. I'm just telling you, them boys didn't quite look all the way licked when they rode off that first time.
Of course,
I see
they're
my
probably
share
down
of-
here doing some sort of... Now, I'm just going to tell you, they're probably down here doing something, some sort of gathering of extra troops for whatever crap they're trying to do back up north. They're always fighting someone, especially the U.S. Army. Probably the Northern Army, of course. But down here, the Coyote Confederation and the Confederate Army have a pretty good standing, and they don't really have too much push most of the time. But we are coming up to a bridge, and I'll take your concerns to heart. But I am not slowing this train down if I can help it. We've got time. We've got to make a schedule, and we've already had a decent amount of strangeness and delays.
When he
Yeah.
says bridge, I look at Ollie.
All right, well, you just keep an eye out, sir.
He gives a nod, looks the two of you up and down.
I shake their hands and I offer my blessings. And right before we step away from the car, I'll kneel down on one knee and offer my blessings to for the train as well.
He just shrugs it. You do whatever you want. That's perfectly fine by me. But no amount of good words are going to change the fact this several hundred tons of steel are going to go straight through. I mean, if you're worried about anything, it's that bridge we're coming up to. It was recently put in 2 years ago. And when we get close, we're going to slow down just to make sure there's no damage to it. There's no reason to speed across a bridge that's half built or half there. Rains can take it out and stuff like that. So I've got it all under control up here. I've made this run many a times. And put faith in me more than your... And he laughs before he finishes the sentence. Put faith in me that I know what I'm doing.
Ollie just gives kind of a helpless shrug.
Oh, trust me, my good man. I do have faith that you know what you're doing. But I also have faith in the God Almighty. Doesn't mean that I can't pray for Him to offer you extra strength and an extra blessing into what you're doing.
He'll give a nod. All right, there. Well, you're not supposed to be up here, so go on, mow your own way back to the passenger cars. Thank you for stopping by.
I'll head back
All right.
with Ollie.
He definitely, I mean, of course, you got the feel. I think I portrayed it well enough. He is not impressed by two people just wandering up to the front car.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember he wasn't very impressed when we personally repelled the Native Americans that attacked his fucking train, too. So that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
he seems like a nice guy. Like, we didn't even get an apology from the airline for the terrorist attack.
I know,
Like,
right?
He's just like, you just head on back to where you're supposed to be, mister. Like, cool. Like, we'll just hang out back there. You have fun. See ya.
Exactly.
Yeah, this engineer is like, it sounds like, you know, after the Indians took off, that's what you get for not having a ticket, you know?
He sure is making Ollie rethink his whole lifetime of mild scorn for authority figures, I'll tell you that.
Oh, you saved the train. Good. Not really. He's the grumpy cat of engineers.
I guess so.
All right. So you guys are heading back. And preliminary search of the 3 passenger cars does not turn up web, but there are closed doors. I don't know if you want to start barging in on people.
I will knock. Oh, her, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll knock on a couple doors because I'm not sure where he's staying, and just kind of like knock, Dr. Webb, and they can tell me to piss off if.
Sure. During the process of going from room to room, when you head back up through the cars, now checking doors that are closed, like walking up, tapping on a curtain, Dr. Webb, hearing when somebody respond yes or no, and then heading back up into the next car, knocking around, trying to get some people's attention, seeing if they've seen them. By the time you get toward the front of the car, one gentleman who is having coffee hears you knock on one of a stall, asking, says, "Are you looking for the other Pinkerton, the non-talkative one?"
Yes, sir.
"He was right over there, but I just saw him heading toward the first passenger car."
Oh, this has been a wild chase for having only 3 passenger cars, and I'm gonna head back to the first car.
As you step into the first car, you see him standing in front of the door that you and Lorraine are staying at, and he stopped and he's like adjusting his coat and whatnot, and then he turns and he looks back in the direction where you guys are, and has like a look of surprise on his face.
Dr. Webb, were you looking for?
I wanted to check up and to see how the two of you were doing.
I think we're just fine, except for Miss Lamore here is missing a book from her compartment. Have you seen it?
He gives a nod and says, "No." A knowing nod, like, "No. I did. I apologize. I borrowed it for just a moment, seeing as it seemed interesting in relation to everything that had happened." And he turns to her and says, "I must apologize for taking your things without asking. But it was for ill reasons. I have concluded my research. What you were trying to do was protective in its idea, not harmful. I intend to make sure that the large banker, whose name I never made, because I guess he's just going to die. Oh, there it is, Berg. I'm going to let Mr. Berg know that that was not black magic, as I promised. I apologize again for going through your things."
I would hope. I'm gonna let a touch of the voice come into my tone here, and say, I would hope in the future that you would ask permission before doing research on someone's property that isn't yours.
He gives like a little bit of a step back. He's like, "I understand. I might have overstepped, but as my duty as a Pinkerton to investigate, I felt that this might be one of those moments to dig deeper. Sometimes."
Yeah, but I'm also fairly certain that usually in these kinds of even if there was something untowardly happening, that you would the person would know that you were searching their compartment, and that you had confiscated something as evidence or what have you with your detecting duties, but at least they'd be aware that their property was removed.
And I understand where you're coming from, and I agree that what I did was probably not in the wholest or goodest of nature. I did so in haste, in the attempt to discern, to ensure that there was nothing, that this was nothing more than just a misunderstanding, and that everything was fine. And I hope that in the future, if something comes up, I will. He says, he doesn't say I hope. He says, in the future, I will approach with a different air of caution, and I will be more forthcoming with asking to borrow someone's things.
I'll look to Lorraine. Are you satisfied with the return of?
Where's my book? and he produces the book from behind him that he's holding on to it. So, like, you literally caught him at the doorway. He's getting himself ready to knock and apologize for taking it. So you ambushed him before he could, do so. And he produces the book, and she begins yammering on in French, and she grabs it and she looks through it and everything like that. And then she sticks it quickly into, probably in her hands behind her, like to hold on to it. So Mr. Webb apologizes again, sincerely, and he wants to kind of like break away at this point in time, being incredibly embarrassed about the whole thing. Did you let him escape?
Yeah, as long as he's felt the appropriate amount of shame that he can go.
He has, because as the marshal, he doesn't have a choice. He's been shamed.
Yay!
Take 1 point of wind damage. Physical shame. All right. Dr. Webb returns to what he's doing. You guys get back into the car. She sits down and begins thumbing through her book quickly. It has a lot of interesting pictures in it that, from your few glances that you can see, does not look like anything that you easily recognize. You two are coming back from the front end of the train, and trying to just Web's on here, so yeah. All right. What is so real quick around the table? I need to have an idea if you're going to stay where you're at or if you're going to be moving. You and Lorraine are in the room. Anne and Lorraine are in the room. Are you going to be staying there?
If someone I still don't want to leave her with the banker being a douche, so I'm gonna hang out with. I'm gonna hang out with her unless she is being seen by someone else that I trust. In which case, I'm gonna make my trip up to the engineer.
Okay. I guess Miss Thompson would be somebody you trust.
Yeah, but I kind of see them both as needing support, so I don't know if I'd rather have an Ollie or a Bixby or. Okay. Yeah.
So the question is as Ollie and Father Cross are heading back through, do we notice the banker and his friend, just eyeing Anne's door because they know Lorraine's in there?
Oh, they have not left the table. They have been sitting at the table. They've got some poker cards out. They've been playing a nice little game. They're just spending their time. There, from where they sit, Anne's door is in eyeshot. So, yeah. They're there. They can see it.
Hey, Padre, we want to check in on the ladies on our way back.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Let's go see how Miss Lorraine's doing.
All right.
And Miss McDade, of course.
Of course.
Yep.
I know your priorities. It's cool.
One of them is actively shaken up right now. The other one, not so much.
Also, she's real cute and has a nice accent.
I try.
Well, see, the thing is that still could describe either one of the women that he wants to go see.
I've got the same accent as Ollie.
Or at least similar. Like his is, pretty Texas specific. I know my actual accent in real life has an awful lot of Kentucky blurring the lines there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my Southern's like a mixture of 5 states, so that's...
It happens.
Okay, so you guys knock on the door, and
who is it?
It's Father Cross and Ollie.
Oh, then I'll open the door because I'm not opening it without asking. Hello, gentlemen. Did you find what you needed?
Yeah, we
Checking on some things.
spoke with the engineer. So barely all we were looking for. I reckon.
Well, where are my manners? Would you folks like to come in and have a drink? I could pour some whiskey.
Feel like it'd be rude to decline.
An invitation from a lady is definitely one you do not want to decline. I may be a priest, but even I know that is.
Well, kind of nod them in, and I'll make sure that I sit across from Lorraine to give Ollie the option of sitting next to her if he'd like.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll start pouring them out some drink.
Ollie will be very gentlemanly, remembering all the little manners that were ruler smacked into him as he was raised by Catholic nuns. So like he'll be, the absolute gentle.
All right, so you sit down, making sure to be gentle and whatnot, and she'll smile and in French spout out some words real quick. You begin. There's like little tables that you guys can set up and start pouring drinks, and so you guys have a chance to kind of gather. And what do you want to talk about? Because now this is where it's you guys. Lorraine's question. You might have questions for her, stuff like that.
Ollie's not in the questioning business for the most part. He's just gonna kind of relax, enjoy the company, and keep one eye on the door in case that no good, dirty, stinking criminal banker comes back. But yeah, he'll listen and he'll try to start doing that gift at gab thing. In the description in the book, it says with a few minutes conversation, you start to pick things up and like get a free one. So he'll be paying attention. But he's probably not likely to steer the conversation much. So,
Okay. Noted.
Father Cross will be direct about it, but he'll be polite. He'll ask Lorraine, so why are you on this trip? And as the conversation just kind of goes into it, he'll say, so what were you doing when those two men broke into your room?
She will point out that there were 3 at her door, and one of them was the conductor. I'm not going to do the accent. I'll struggle with it, and then I'll say funny sounds. So she'll say that she was in her... she says, first of all, that her master has left and has headed out west. He left her alone in New Orleans, and she is trying to find him. Which strikes you off at both. For the most part, she refers to him as master. That's the actual kind of description, like a slave and master scenario. And she says she's trying to find him because he left her behind. And so she got this train ticket to head out here. At any point, I want to segue. If you guys feel that anything I'm telling you is wrong or a lie, maybe you don't trust her and you want to scrutinize her, feel free to go ahead and start rolling the dice. You only get one roll for this whole kind of like backstory spiel. Not like it's going to be an easy roll if there is anything. She will tell you that she's coming out this direction to find him, and that last night when she was on the train, she heard terrible noises, and then things happened, and there was gunshots, and there was gunshots, and it scared her because she heard something terrible. And her religion, or her understanding, she calls it religion. That's what she says. That's the word she has. My belief. My belief is that something is moving around the train. And so she had a dream last night that this train is going to a terrible place, a place that you would call hell, or she believes the train is going to hell. That's the word she'll use. She'll refer to hell because she's like, this is all I know how to call it, hell. And when she got up the next morning, she tried to shake the feeling, but she couldn't. So she came back to the room after getting coffee and some things to eat. She began trying to create, and she'll say, a shield. I was trying to make a shield to protect us, to protect the train. So she's struggling with her English at this point in time.
I'm assuming she's flipping
Bouclier.
between
Bouclier.
English and French, but she's also using hand signs.
No hand signs.
In a way.
She doesn't talk with her hands. She's not that kind of person. Bouclier is what she says several times before she, Ollie picks up and like, oh, and Ollie's the one who says, you mean like a shield? Ollie, you're picking up on it, and you're like, man, she talked like that one nun that was back. Oh, I remember these words. And like, you're picking up on some of this stuff. And, one second.
Je t'aime, tu es drôle.
You remember, so when you help her out with the words, she says something completely in French, and you think the first part is, I like you, or I like something, or I like your shoes, but you're just like caught off guard by the way it comes out. And do you want to react to that?
Ollie will kind of give her a little bit of a shocked look, like, oh, that's a surprise, and he might blush a little bit, but he'll go, I think we had a sister, Catherine, that visited sometimes, and she talked about a shield of faith. I think that's kind of what Mr. Learning's talking about in her own way, something like that. But he will like visibly like blush and that sort of thing, like at her compliment.
Yep. Okay. She thinks the translations are getting through at this point in time, and so she as well is blushing. All right, so Father Cross, you seem to have some more information.
As she's going through, I do want to be watching her expression and listening to what she's telling us. And I do want to go ahead and scrutinize it, mostly for the sake of what I do. But, I'm not just going to toss her off the train because someone else said black magic.
Okay. Go ahead and make your roll. Dowdy Mustafa.
8.
All right, so first couple of holes, she refers to Master, and she's white, and she's from New Orleans. So there are two things there. Most slaves are black, so that definitely catches you off guard. She speaks French. That clicks in with New Orleans. She talks about being able to do things and protect the train and had a strange dream. A lot of the things she ties up to does fit in as far as it goes for what happened, the events that you know of. And, excuse me, I apologize. You're not sure if she's making a shield because you're not sure exactly like what the whole circle means. You're also unfamiliar with the fact that Dr. Webb had the book and he read through the book and said everything was okay. But that was a conversation they had. And I'm sure during this whole thing, she even mentioned that about the book, that it was taken by Dr. Webb. He read through it and he was a horrible person. I'm sure horrible is a word she actually knows. Either that or Ollie will translate it. That what she was doing was okay, and he was going to go tell the fat man that it was okay. So as far as it goes, you question like the intro part, and you haven't conferred with Dr. Webb, and if you trust him, then you'll probably trust the rest of it. So that's what your scrutinize gets out of it.
All right. After she goes through the entire explanation, I look at her and I say, when you say master, do you mean teacher?
She will say no. He is not a teacher. He does teach me things, but he owns me.
I just nod at that.
Ollie will look a little sour.
Yeah, so will
we are in
Anna.
the South. I had not expected this, though.
She shrugs.
Who is this master of yours anyhow?
Zalamore is his name, and he is from Louisiana.
What kind of name is Zalamore? It sounds like a dumb name. In fact, I like this fella very much. Grumble, 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 grumble under it.
Try not to laugh. I'm laughing. She will say, I am from South Africa, and there my parents died. I was sold into slavery. Then I was bought by a man and put on a boat and brought to America. And then when I came to America, my master bought me on my 16th birthday so that I would not work on a plantation picking cotton. And he started teaching me English and how to speak with spirits and other things.
Huh.
Oh, really? Buying people.
What are you supposed to say to that?
Exactly, right? What? So, was an interesting thing I read about. Side note, interesting thing I read about that in the South African colony, that if parents died, there was no orphanages. Kids were either picked up by neighbors or bought and sold into slavery. And some of them actually came to the States, and I was like, oh, that's good. I have to save that and use it sometime.
Huh.
Yep. Okay, so you've scrutinized her things. Did you want to do anything else? Any more questions?
No, I'll just listen to her story, and after that, I look at her and I say, well, Lorraine, my name is Father Samuel Cross, and it is a pleasure to formally meet you. And I will offer my hand as I would to any other lady.
Okay. She will hold her hand out because she knows the custom.
And I will shake her hand as I would ladies, and I
Okay.
just smile at her. And I say, and now you have a new set of friends.
She says, "Oh, this is so wonderful. I really appreciate you all. When I get to Dodge, I hope that he is there waiting. I know that he could be there, and I know this might not be the first stop in my journey, but I know he is this way. And I really appreciate everything you are helping me with."
So you're going looking for this fella?
Yes.
Why?
Because he is my master.
Yeah, but he left. And that's,
She's
you
just,
know, somebody abandons a dog at their home. That dog ain't the one that's obliged to go looking for him. You know, that just means the dog gets to be its own master now. Same with a horse, same as a person.
She stops and she says, "But a dog might follow after if they leave in a wagon, and it would go up the road too. And that is all I'm doing, is going up the road to see if he is nearby. What else am I supposed to do?"
When Ollie makes the dog metaphor, I just kind of give this slight wave in his direction.
No.
From like giving Anna permission. Go ahead, smack him.
Pick a different animal.
To Ollie, comparing
Yeah.
somebody to a loyal dog or a horse is a pretty big compliment.
I know.
He likes dogs and horses more than most people, so you know. So yeah, he will not pick up on your subtle social cues.
Also,
His eyes
I
are not on
agree
you
with
right
the-
now.
I also agree with the arguments he's making, if not the exact wording.
Well, I'm just saying you could do whatever you want to. You could.
But what am I supposed to do? And she seems frustrated by this enough that she puts her hands out and she like gives you a gentle push, and then she will put one hand on a hip, giving like a stern look to you. Like, what am I supposed to do? How can you possibly open this door for me and then not tell me how it works?
Supposed to do whatever you want to. Your master done left. That means you belong to yourself now. You could ride the trails. You could set up shop in New Orleans. You know, do a fancy little. I don't know what fancy city ladies do. Whatever. You could go. You know, just do anything you want.
Perhaps we can find a compromise. How about the three of us help you find your master when we get to Dodge? If he does not want you anymore, then quite possibly you can choose your own path. And I'm pretty sure we'll help you.
All right. She'll give a nod and say, "Then we will see."
Well, gentlemen, I'm getting more and more uncomfortable by this whole conversation. So, after downing the remainder of my whiskey, I'm gonna go. Well, gentlemen, it's been a long morning and a lot of searching, and I thank you for your kindness and your assistance this morning. But I'm sure Lorraine and I could use a little rest before dinner.
I think that'd be a good idea. I stand up. And I nod to them both. It was a pleasure, ladies.
She will. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cause no ruckus. I'm sorry, Miss. He does that thing where they each get their own miss constantly.
All right. she will, she's very accepting, and of course helps you guys, ushers you out and whatnot. And as we move forward, the interaction right after they step out of the room, I just want to let you know it is physically clear that Lorraine has a little bit of a physical flush about her as she rolls her eyes and then looks to you to make eye contact and then giggle a bunch.
I'll kind of partake, but not as fervently as I would have before that conversation. But I'll kind of like supportively touch her shoulder and then invite her to her own little spot to kind of have a rest or whatever. And yeah, that'll be. I'll kind of it's a little quiet time.
Yes.
Even though I don't sleep anymore, I can't sleep because of what I've seen. So
she's going to break out some tarot cards and begin reading them. And that's how she kind of winds down. The two of you step out into the hallway and begin heading to the back car again. And am I right? The motion of where you're going?
Yes.
I was just
yes,
gonna follow.
Sure.
I'm
sure.
gonna head back, because if I remember right, I've Father Cross has been getting mainly cat naps on and off. Since
Yes.
we
Okay.
got on the train. Nothing solid except for 2 hours of sleep that first night. So gonna grab a cat nap, since Dr. Webb and Father Cross had promised to help with security to Bixby. I'll explain that to Ollie. And since I'm planning on taking a shift over the night, then I'll want to grab some sleep at least before dinner.
Okay. As you're heading back to get some sleep, Bixby meets you in the final passenger car, and he comes walking in. He has a rifle at his side. Not another Winchester, FYI. And as it's pointed down, he's carrying it in a proper kind of way. The two of you, he walks right up to Ollie like, Ollie, I might have an opportunity other than the priest's rifle if you're interested. I went back and checked out David and Pedro's stuff, and I was able to find David's shotgun. And Pedro, he pulls up a Remington rolling block, which is a very pretty rifle. It's got some rifling and some filigree and some etchings along the side of it amongst its stock and whatnot. And he says, might be interested in it. It uses the same ammo a Winchester does, 44. It's a single shot, though.
Well, I mean, I could at least hold on to it near my saddlebags and such. It's got a little bit longer range on it than a Winchester does. I know fellas use them for hunting and such a little more than a normal yellow boy, but sure, more the merrier, I figure.
He gives you a nod. Maybe have both of them, have one for a quick shot, then swap back over or something if you need it. Anyways, I'm not wanting to hang on to Pedro's rifle, and I don't know where his family is, so, I mean, I can't look toward getting it toward next of kin. So he shrugs. It has no owner right now, and I know nobody who's a better shot. If the end of this ride comes around and you don't want to hold on to a dead man's rifle, I'll see what I can do to find somebody who owns it.
Well, thanks, Mr. Baseway.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I'll hold on to it for sure.
And he will part and head out as you guys begin finding a chance to relax. So you're found a place to lay down, rest, found a place to next to your saddle to check your weapons and whatnot. And when you sit down in the bench next to your saddle and you're setting the guns down and whatnot, the kids there are less kids in here now moving about, and that one child that you've never seen before that just mystically appeared walks to the end of your bench and is staring at you as you're doing stuff. But it's not the kid that you notice off at this point in time. It's the fact that you see because the train's direction that it's moving, it's now a slightly northern direction as it's heading toward the bridge, right? And the sun is just above the horizon, so you're looking out across the flat land, and the sun is getting close to set.
Ollie's just got to kind of let out a little bit of a sigh, like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon. Normally, given some alone time, he would probably start breaking down one of the two rifles. And, like, he's probably sitting down and start to get out his gunsmith and stuff, and then just kind of goes, no, maybe after dark. Like, puts the gunsmith and stuff away and leaves both of the rifles out and at the ready. And just kind of gives the kid a look. Like, is the kid just like staring at me, or is he looking at it? Okay.
Like this.
How'd you, just got some parents to get to, kiddo? Maybe some supper on the way? What's your name, little man?
A girl nearby yells, "That's Natty. He does that."
Natty, short for Nathaniel, like Natty Bumpo from them books.
He can see Natty Bumpo from the books.
Last of the Mohicans, I believe it was. He was supposed to be a heck of a shot, kid.
The kid still has yet to move, and you're not sure if he's blinked either.
So he's just like standing still, just staring at me like some little demon baby in a horror movie. Gotcha.
Either that, or it's the fact that how many guns do you have sitting next to you?
Only 2.
And how many pistols?
They're not sitting next to me. I answered
fair,
your question very specifically.
You did. Let's not pry too far into that with a crowbar. But anyways, the kid has definitely got that like a long distance stare looking at you. Maybe it's like some freaky demon kid, but I think it's more along the lines of a kid like staring at like some, in his mind, person that popped out of a dime novel.
That's fair. Ollie is pretty awesome.
Oh, I love it. So, not a narcissist, not at all. It's good. All right. We're near the end of the show, and I just want to start off with. I want to bring the end of the show as the train is zipping. The sun is starting to set. We will be having a moment where characters are resting, and Ollie, the kid's left you alone for a moment. You're starting to... Go ahead.
But before he leaves,
yes,
since Ollie still doesn't feel much like wearing his hat, he'll just plop it on the kid's head. Go, well, Natty, you keep an eye on this for me, all right? I'll get it back from you before we get the dog.
At that, he will take the hat and he'll push it on his head and he'll walk away, like kind of happy and smiling. You go back to working on the rifle at this point in time, checking it over, and it's just a brief moment. You decided to kind of like rest as you're doing so. It's almost like lethargic or just meditative the way checking through the rifle. The Winchester from the father is freaking like really nice. I mean, when he wasn't kidding when it's like it's from the factory and specialized made. And this other rifle is kind of nice. It looks like it's seen a lot of wear and tear. It needs a bit of cleaning as you're moving over it. And as you're going through these rifles, realize you've stopped for a moment, and there's a pair of feet at the end of the booth that you're at with the joined chairs. It's a pair of sandaled red skin feet underneath like a leather dress with beads and whatnot hanging down and shreds of leather, and it's very decorative. And you start to look up, you're from feet up, at some point you realize you're staring at an Indian, and then you realize you're staring at the Indian shaman, and he's standing at the end of the trail, at the end of the booth.
So Chief, let me see if I get his name. Potamwa? That guy?
Yes.
Well,
the rest of the train
howdy.
is eerily quiet. You can't hear it. You can only see it moving. He holds his hand up and he points outside of the train and he says something. You're not sure of the words, and I'm not going to kind of like try to hash it out because that would be rude in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna see something interesting if I follow the direction he is pointing. So Ollie will, against his better judgment, take a look.
As you look out, the train is moving, the field outside is not, and you see high grass as far as the eye can see, and what looks like hundreds of dog soldiers standing in the grass, not moving. Hundreds of them. But you know it's very surreal because the train is rocking and moving, but the outside world isn't.
Ollie's not sure what to do with this new information. He's just gonna kind of reflexively, probably he's gonna try and count. And then just go like, nope, that's a bad plan. But like he doesn't know what else to do, and he's just
All right, as you're trying to figure out what to do, the Indian reaches out and grabs a hold of your shoulder, and he's been shaking you.
I will look back up to Chief Potamwa.
It's not Chief Potamwa. Instead, it seems to be that Pony Express rider. He's like, you fell asleep. You're snoring pretty loud. Doesn't look like sleeping like that's very comfortable. You might want to lay down if you're going to pass out.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I slept in worse. And then Ollie will kind of look past him to be like looking outside a little bit.
The sun's dropped down a lot more now. It is now almost directly in the middle part of the horizon, and the train is flying by through high grassy fields.
Thanks for waking me up, though, Pony. Let's get our eyes back outside, I reckon. And he's looking like kind of clearly distracted and keeping an eye out.
All right. Well, then we will definitely, since it's time to bring the game to an end, it's 7:00. We did an amazing amount of role-playing. The situational role-playing was really heavy tonight, and we're gearing up for next game session where we all hope that Ollie isn't going fucking nuts and seeing weird old Indians telling him that bad shit's coming, you know? We really hope that bad shit is coming so that Ollie's not crazy.
The good
we
news...
already know he's crazy.
The good news is at least the stuff that he's likely to start taking pot shots at is outside the train. So, like, worst that'll happen, he just kind of vents a little bit. You guys are out some ammo,
You still have that 22 shots from whiskey for the 44?
It's something like that. I knocked off some ammo. I think I've got like 16 left.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got a count going on my Word document.
Cool beans. We got a chance to explore Lorraine, find out a bit more about her. We got a chance to explore the whole situation. And we're now at a point where we're at the end of the second day of the train ride, and tomorrow you guys will be arriving in Dodge City. Yay, the train ride will finally be over after 6 episodes.
I'm going to give it 7 because...
We'll be arriving at Dodge.
I love how Max couldn't even keep a straight face when he said, tomorrow you guys get to Dodge. It'll be great.
Hard. It was so hard. You don't understand. It's so hard. Sometimes I cannot laugh on the inside. So, yeah.
This was a fun session. Thank you. I always miss this when we take 2 weeks.
Heck yeah, good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for being back. We greatly appreciate having you here. Your role-playing skills mesh incredibly well with this whole group. This whole group's role-playing skills are really good. So as we come to the close, a couple of things. Let's start off with what's going on over at Original Box Set. So I've reached out and tapped some other game masters, and I'm doing some kind of like cooperative collab construction. I'm going to be setting up a 5th edition D&D game, and once we get a decent amount put together, and it's moving along a lot faster than I expected. I've never done a collab that has somebody who writes 5,000 words a minute. Dear God. Eric DeMage, if you're here, you write really fast. Oh my goodness. And I'm definitely, I got other people I'm collabing with as far as that goes, and we're building a world, and we're going to find three lucky players who will be joining us for that. I think 3 is a really nice number as far as it goes for players. 3 to 4. 4 is pushing it. 5 is too much. Just me. I don't know. I'll put that soapbox away for some other time. Also in the works, sometime within the month of March or February, another game master that's here, Evans, he and I are going to have a sit-down discussion, and we're going to talk about the best topic about Dungeons & Dragons, alignment. We're going to actually have like a several hours long conversation about the ins and outs of alignment, the goods and the bads. So tune in for that one, because he doesn't like alignments, and I do. Next and last bit up, I have just found a role-playing game I'm really interested in. It's called Frontier. It's a space-based game, and like that's one of the things I'm doing. Actually, no, the second to last. And that's probably later on this year. So if you're interested in playing a space-based game, hey, aim towards sometime after summer. I think that's when I'll have plenty of free time. In the meantime, I'm going to be hooking up with one of our audience members here, Radio, during my time in Knoxville, and he and I are going to be hashing out some short-run Shadowrun games, in which I will be drawing in people and do some casting calls for that. And the concept I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the players I've played with beforehand, because I have a group, and then I'm going to take a new person, and the two of them are going to mesh together forcefully in a Shadowrun game. It's just...
That's awesome.
So I got some stuff. I'm going to reach out to Radio, and he's got some stuff. Yeah, man. We're going to chat while I'm up in Knoxville, because I'm going to have free time in the evenings to do that, because I'll be studying and I'll be stuck in a hotel room. Anyways, that's all that's going on Original Box Set side. So I'm going to toss it out to the players. I'm going to start with Rusty.
A couple of things going on right now. As always, on the Sundays that we're not playing this game, I'm running a Song of Ice and Fire game that is really starting to heat up. We left off the last episode with the promise that the Red Viper, Prince Oberyn Martell, a fan favorite, was going to be showing up. So lots of people were hyped about that. Before that, however, tomorrow night, I am a special guest star with Riot House Entertainment. Right here on Twitch, they do the Not Your Normal Nerdcast. So I'm going to be hanging out with James and Mac, who some of you might know from some other Shadowcaster Network shenanigans. And we're going to be talking about attempting for like inclusive writing in the hobby and stuff like that. We've been tackling some pretty serious issues on their podcast of late, and tomorrow will be my chance to kind of take part. And then on the Shadowrun front, because I know there's a lot of overlap, and since Max mentioned Shadowrun, it's fresh in my mind. But my latest Shadowrun short fiction dropped a week or two ago, so go check out Shadowrun Adversary. It's a tiny little short fiction. It's doing the enhanced fiction line. So short story and then a couple stats for things. And if it does well, we've got a couple more lined up. And if they do well, I'm hoping to keep the contracts rolling in and keep up a kind of steady stream of short fics. So check it out if you get a chance.
And Sarah.
Yeah, so we are less than a month away from the shoot for the Chicago Shadows trailer. So I'm getting some really cool art from Red Leg Films. We've got the cast in place, and everyone looks super cool. I love our orc rigger. She's going to look so awesome. We've got a mask in place for a kind of cybernetic fighter. And we've got a lot more coming up with rewards. We've got our all of our physical rewards are out. We just have our RPGs that we have to run, and then also the short fiction was just finished. So it's going through a little bit of a proofread, and then we'll start dropping the short fiction that has some backer names added to it. But you'll get to hear a little bit more about our cast of characters that will be coming out for the pilot, and Kiri, who is in the trailer as well. But yeah, it's really exciting to be gearing up for the shoot and seeing all this come together. And you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm actually going to be updating Hootsuite to do all my Twitter drops today and tomorrow for the next month. So lots of pictures, lots of posts, lots of engagement. So I'm crazy excited for all of this happening. It's been 2 years in the making, and it's finally coming down to this month.
Very cool. James, do you have anything?
I do not.
All right, then I'm going to put a link to the original box set website, which has also our social media information. You can contact us there. If you would like, this is a link to our Discord. How do I do that again? I think it's this. It might be this. Let's give that a try. This is a link to our Discord for... I apologize about the screen. It's a link to our Discord. There it goes. Everything's back to normal. Ha ha. I hate when it does that. That's a link to our Discord. Pop in and say hello, join, and hang out. And we talk about stuff. If you're interested, you can also become part of the casting call. I'm running out of things to talk about. I'm handsome. Rusty's handsome. Sarah's beautiful. James looks like a weird wolf icon. I ran out of stuff.
It was
right.
good filler. We all feel good about ourselves now.
Let's go watch some Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Bounty. I'll deal with that after screen and stuff like that. Peace out, everybody. Have a wonderful night. There's a button around here I got to push. But we're going to say goodbye. Good night, everybody. Where's the stop button?
Bye, y'all.
There it is.